powered by blogtalkradio.com. If you're just joining into the show now, welcome. I am broadcasting live from San Juan, Puerto Rico. We are getting ready for some boxing. Dude, you know, I have a special place in my heart for boxing. It's, I think boxing is probably the ultimate man sport. What could get you more jacked up than two people knuckling up in a ring? I mean, Mayweather runs around more, but still, two people knuckling up in a ring and fighting each other. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? I know I love it. This is a fight that we thought may never happen. I mean, since this is Mayweather ducks people, waits, and this is two fighters past their prime, but still, it's gonna make records, because there's one thing: major boxing matches will, like, these fights come like once a decade, and they just smash ratings. Like this fight, it should get Super Bowl numbers. It should get Super Bowl numbers. I'm telling that the general admission type seats for this fight are grand, lower bowl around $3,500, and you actually have to have $250,000 line of credit to be able to purchase a ticket ringside. Now, $250,000 line of credit, you're thinking, that's not too hard to get. That's $250,000 credit with the casino. So that's money you actually have to spend there. You know what I mean? That's $250,000 through the casino. Not in your bank account. That's through the casino. That makes a big difference. And I mean, that's $250,000 that they could potentially get from you in winnings and stuff like that. And your ticket obviously will be purchased, will be part of that. So it'd be crazy. You know, fifth row, I was told probably anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000 for a ticket to watch this fight. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. So I'm going to welcome onto the show the lead boxing for the Cold Hard Truth on Sports. You can see a lot of the stuff he writes, all the stuff he writes really, over on the CHTonsports.com in the boxing and fighting section. Let me welcome on James Bell. How are you doing this evening, James?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Hey, man. Aram evidently got some sense knocked into him somewhere. With the fight's signed. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I mean, here we are.
Well, I mean, you really don't have much, else to go on. All I'm saying is this: I hope people have, excuse me, or have have the rooms booked to have them insured or whatever it is. I mean, this is, something that has been talked about for at least 6 years, and to actually announce the fight with less than 3 months, moving in before the actual fight happens, kind of puts people in a little scramble. But a lot of people who were actually in the know as far as like boxing is concerned pretty much made their moves at the beginning of January. So they kind of like put something aside just in case. But when it was official, then they said, oh, okay, we got it. So we're in there.
I was told the tickets sold out in 15 minutes to the event. 15 minutes.
Yeah. Because, you got people that, basically sit around and, for that, have the time and the money to actually do it. Because like you discussed earlier, minimum ticket prices were at $1,000, and it's basically like the Super Bowl, where mainly the tickets are basically pushed out to corporate, corporations and that type of thing, and they end up reselling the tickets. So it's pretty much the same case here with the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Did you get a ticket?
No, not at the moment. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do closed circuit, but if anything opens up as far as like any of those, nosebleeds, then it's something to be considered. But I'm not planning on getting an actual ticket to get in there right now. There's not a bad seat in that house, but I mean it's $1,000, so it's.
I looked into the press pass for you. Unfortunately, here's the problem that we run into with, and just to kind of let everybody know how press passes work. If you are not a station that begins with a K or something like that, a K or a W,
E or a W or a F.
See, even ESPN is associated with a call letter like WKYN or WDAE or KYK, KYKM. They have the call letters. So if you're not associated with those, it's tougher to get it. Like, for example, in the history, and I know this for a fact, and I've talked to the media relations people at the University of Nebraska, there's only been 2 non-stations like that have ever gotten press credentials approved through the University of Nebraska. One is Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
The other one is Black Sports Online, but only because the reporter from Black Sports Online had a personal relationship with them, and he was an alumni of the school, and that's Greg Smith. I've had him on the show a few times. But
I'm not sure if Bleacher Report or BSO will be able to do their thing here at MGM. I mean, we don't necessarily
Bleacher
even
Report
have
will
the press tour yet. We don't even have that going on.
See, Bleacher Report will get in, but through CNN, because CNN owns Bleacher Report.
Right.
They bought it out. So, and that's kind of under the umbrella. And then obviously ESPN gets into everything, but they can let other people in through affiliates of ESPN. So there's radio stations and stuff like that buy affiliations. Or if you're a radio station, you'll probably get a press pass, but they still are limiting on some of those. So, it's press credentials are not easy to come by, and because you get different access, you're not going to be sitting in the arena. There's a press area, and it's not
there's
close.
A press area.
It's not close.
It's like,
you can see everything, but it's not close.
Yeah, I mean, unless if it's like, for example, the last fight I went to, the Bernard Hopkins Sergey Kovalev thing. They did have a press area there that was, on the ring level, on one side of the ring. So they had it.
But I think it's
but for
more
something like this, that's
video,
not going to happen.
I think it's like video or photography, like photojournalists is pretty much what that is. Because I've never most boxing, like the normal press, they don't let close to the ring. Like they'll let photojournalists close. Like if you can get close to the ring as a journalist, then you had to pull some sort of strings. Because usually it's just photojournalists. Because let's face it, if you want good pictures of the event, you got to be fairly close. I know you've copped some decent tickets, or I don't know, maybe you got a like an awesome camera. I don't know. I haven't seen your equipment, but you got some pretty good pictures from what I've seen.
The way that I pulled that off was, I had, basically did a trade 2 for 1 because, I had, 2 tickets to go further, but one of my friends couldn't go. So, I held an extra ticket, and I just said, well, if I could get a closer seat, then I might as well just get a closer seat, and, that's what I ended up doing. So,
do what you gotta do. So
kind of worked a little magic on that one.
I'm still trying to break down those walls. If you do this, I know we're obviously talking about this show on here, but if you get close to the media relations people, just drop a bomb and talk to them. Say, hey, listen, I want to get to these fights. I come to a lot of these fights, report on these fights. I'm interested in coming as press, and I'll try to work in because I'll work and try to get some smaller fights in your area. This way, we get some more press credentials approved. But even those are hard to get.
Yeah, we have to
like
do.
People
yeah, you would have to do something like we have like one fight, that's coming up in Barclays, the Garcia Peterson. That'll be at the Barclays Center on April 11th. I'm considering going to that, and that's going to be a
before. I'll look into that tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit about that because I've been really spread the word about this, this championship boxing, that Premier Championship Boxing that is gonna be, it's on NBC. I know you can check out James's article, a more in depth than what we're about to get into article over on thechtonsports.com. Right there on the front page in the boxing section, you'll see Premier Championship Boxing there. It kind of breaks it down a bit more. But they signed Danny Garcia. Tell me a little bit about this bout that's coming up. I know when the news broke, you were at Carnival. So I want to hear about it. I've seen the pictures from Carnival. I haven't shared any of them on the show or the website, but it looked like I should probably try to tag along sometime.
I'm
just,
out
there.
I haven't disclosed everything, dealing with, those. But
was that a macrame outfit? Was that macrame with beads? Is that what that was? I think it was like the last one that you posted.
The designs are out there, so it could be with beads, it could be with strings, it could be with basically anything. So, they could
It wasn't a whole lot of much, but it was something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's on the bucket list now. It's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah,
definitely on the bucket list.
You definitely got to go there. That's the one to go to. I know that Brazil is around the same time, but it's not Trinidad. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. So, we're gonna basically, because this thing here with the Premier Boxing Champions on NBC is pretty much coming in within the next, say, what is that? About 11 days when it debuts on NBC, right? So we got, the first one here with the guy from St. Pete, Keith One-Time Thurman, is going to face Robert the Ghost Guerrero, and also Adrian Broner is fighting. So, people are going to be able to, see big-time boxing on network television for the first time since, other than one time CBS put some on, but I'm going back to
the Wild World Sports.
Yeah. So
that was before a lot of it's crazy because that was actually before a lot of the listeners were even born.
Yeah.
That's how far we're going back with that stuff. That's like back when Tyson was feared. When Tyson was, the average dude is still scared of fucking Tyson. Still scared of him. Guy's intimidating as shit. And he's a lot more of a pussycat now. But this is when, people just didn't even want to fight his ass. This is before he went to jail. That's when it was on. So it was a minute ago. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Is this what it's going to take, Premier Championship Boxing, getting it back on network television? Do you think this is what it's going to take to start to get boxing to be more popular in the U.S.?
I think it'll be, within the U.S., yes. Within the world, it's still a very popular sport because you still have those type of fighters that, those countries could tie into. Excuse me. So, this is basically for the people within the U.S. to get familiar with a lot of fighters because, some of these boxing fans may not know who Keith Thurman is, even though he's been pretty active in the boxing scene and has a welterweight championship. So, getting familiar with him, getting familiar with Adrian Broner, even though Adrian Broner has a big mouth, so I don't see how anybody couldn't notice him. And especially going off this last fight, because Broner's last fight was a real good fight that he had last year. So those two bouts will pretty be a good start to what Premier Boxing Champions has for, the public here in the U.S.
Have they announced anything who's going to be on the under? I know you're probably going to have an article on it, but when we start to lead up to the fights. But have you heard anything on who else is going to fight the night of Danny Garcia, or is it obviously that's the headline?
On the website, I just checked on the website, and the second fight that they're going to have is Andy Lee versus Peter Quillen, and I think that's like a good middleweight fight. Quillen, I think I saw on last April for Hopkins main event that he had in Washington D.C. So Quillen is the undefeated prospect in the middleweight division. He has the WBO middleweight championship. So, and it's going to be a pretty good fight between him and Andy Lee. Andy Lee is one of the kind of popular guys within boxing and has a lot of fans that come to the fight. So there will be a lot of Andy Lee fans that'll be at the Barclays for that.
So let me ask you this: a lot of Americans associate themselves with heavyweights. What do you see in the future? Because Wilder has now won one of the belts.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see for the Bronze Bomber? Do you think he's going to start to gain some traction, or what is it going to take for people to know who he is? I mean, a lot of people don't even know who he is.
Yeah, he's
a heavyweight champion.
And the thing is that he hasn't been marketed right, because with him being undefeated, he should be out there for people to see. He's looking for trying to get a fight with Vladimir Klitschko, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that
ain't going to happen.
He's going to end up
he's nobody.
He's going to end up fighting. Yeah, he's going to end up fighting other like Tyson Fury, who's a British undefeated fighter, but Klitschko is not really seeing him right now at this point. Klitschko,
let's look at it like this. He just won a vacated belt. Nobody looks seriously at the guy that won the vacated belt. It was a given up. It's not like you beat the champion that had it. You beat somebody to get the belt from the champion that had to give it up.
Nah, the guy that had it just got it, because the fight before that's when he actually won that vacated belt. And so the next fight, he had.
He didn't even defend it. He defended it once and lost it.
At one time against Wilder and lost. So, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't even successfully defend the belt. So essentially, that's where I just kind of pass that along. So until you successfully defended the belt, it's still winning the vacated belt, at least in my opinion. It technically isn't, but still, that's what I want to see. I want to see Wilder. I see he's not even into his prime yet. He's young. It'd be like, Canelo has a belt too. So that's the thing. It's like that. That's what I look at him like. A young, up-and-coming fighter. He's not matured yet. He's obviously not marketed well. But still, he's an American heavyweight. You'd think, and he's undefeated. You think he gets some more love somewhere. But boxing writers aren't even enamored over him. I mean, he's 6'5", 240 pounds, something like that.
It's not just that.
He's roughly the size of Randy Gregory, the defensive end from Nebraska. So if you guys watch the combine this weekend, he's about that size. I don't know if he can run a 40 and 4.6, but still, he's about that size.
Yeah.
I reached out to his camp to come on the show a couple different times. I have not gotten a response from them. So I can honestly say that if I reached out, I'm sure some other people have reached out. I reached out before he won the belt and then after he won it, and I have heard nothing back from the Wilder camp in terms of even doing anything. See, I get guys like Marshawn Lynch. You don't want to talk to the media. You don't want to use the media as a tool to promote, your foundation. You don't want to use the media like you should to help out kids in your neighborhood. Doing these little YouTube shit, that's not enough. You need to go on shows. I mean, when you don't pay to go on a show and you're getting your word out there.
Yeah. I'm like, you're the heavyweight champion. You're an American. You're the heavyweight champion, and you're not seen in shows like, Jay Leno ain't out there no more. But the Tonight Show or David Letterman or even a Day Show.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
He didn't go on any of the late night shows. Not even
that's
Craig Ferguson. He wasn't even on Craig. Craig Ferguson is an avid boxing fan. Craig Ferguson likes boxing, and he didn't even go on Craig Ferguson, the late show. He's not even on the shit that's at midnight and later. You can't get on the late show. He's fired his marketing guy, man. It's probably a friend. See, that's the problem. Too many of these guys come up and they get friends. LeBron's guy has done decent. I've seen his website. It's kind of cool. It's hard as shit to contact them, but it's a kind of a cool website.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think his friend that's been doing the marketing and stuff for him has been kind of his personal relations person. He hasn't done such a poor job, but you can thank Nike and ESPN, too, for doing a lot of that work for him.
Yeah.
You get friends to do something. It's one thing if that's what they do. I mean, it's nice to have somebody in your inner circle that you can trust with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I'll reach out again. You can only do so much.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's get to it. Again, the number to call in is 347-237-5539. I'll be taking some calls here before we go to the next break. Probably about half hour from the next break. But let's talk about this Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. Now that we've gotten traction on it, we've gotten to kind of this point before, but the fight didn't happen. So, can you break down a little bit more of the details of the contract? I mean, what are the terms of this that they were able to agree on? How did they make this happen?
The biggest things that were mainly the roadblocks for this fight, for it to actually happen this time around, was, I think number one was the naming rights to the fight, like how to promote it. Is it Pacquiao Mayweather or Mayweather Pacquiao? Like which name goes first? Who gets introduced first? And there's that one segment of it. Next segment was, the whole thing with the cross promotional. Because this is like, the last time they had something like this happen was when Tyson fought Lewis. And, Tyson was in Showtime and Lewis was on HBO. And so it's pretty much the same case here. It's like who's going to be the announcer, who's mainly covering the fight, even though both are doing pay-per-views for the fight. What banners get put where, this and that, and everything, and, naming rights, that type of thing. So that's the type of stuff that really had to be ironed out, that kind of was the main roadblocks, because when you deal with other fights, when, number one, you're with the same promotional company, and then number two, you're with the same network, you don't necessarily have to go through all of that. So signing a fight won't take that long. But here, you really have to do all of that type of thing and get all that stuff out of the way, so that once all that stuff is done, then you can announce the fight if it's official or not. So those are, the major things there. So, 60-40 splits, basically going to be $100 million base for the fight. Mayweather's going to get $60 million, and Pacquiao will get $40 million, and you have the share from the pay-per-view buys. And like the on-gate ticket sales and that type of stuff. So all of that basically.
And whatever he bets on himself.
Right. Yeah.
So what did it come down to? Is it going to be a simulcast? Is it something that's just on one network? Where are we going to be able to see this? Are they going to be able to see this in his native country? Because I know that was one of the things that Floyd talked about. He didn't want to air it. He didn't want to give viewing rights to his country, just only through Showtime. Obviously, as you just said, it's through Showtime and HBO. But kind of, how does that work? Just those two networks, or what?
Well, I don't think it'll just be those two networks. I mean, some other networks will probably show it too. Or what is it? Sky Sports is the one over in Britain that usually does fights. So they'll have other networking companies that'll at least, I don't know.
Yeah, they have
cameras, but they'll have
commentary
and that type of thing. So
they
have people to see. I mean, of course, this is the biggest fight in the world, so that they're going to have simulcast for these other countries to watch this card.
Sky is actually the one that has a contract with the NFL to air NFL games, and they're the big network that's also trying to back pushing a team in London. Obviously, they have vested interest in that.
Right. Mhm. So you'll people will be able to see it, in Germany or France or England or China or Thailand or Japan. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem at all. So. But
right.
I mean, it's still like a little ways off. Some stuff hasn't really been ironed out yet. You still have the other. How they got to fill out the fight card, so we haven't really figured out who's going to be, in that quite yet. We won't have to figure that out for the next couple of weeks. Talk with a few friends here and there, and they're saying that a couple of people that really kind of were opening their mouth about fighting a couple of fighters, a few fighters in particular, kind of like quieted down now. So that kind of gives the notion that they're trying to actually get into this fight card. So it's something that, fight fans have to watch out for in the next few weeks.
Okay. Okay. Where do you see this fight going? What do you see happening? Kind of, I know we'll preview the fight a little bit more later on, but kind of just looking at it right now, where do you see this going?
Oh, man. I don't know if you've seen the opening lines for this fight, but they have Pacquiao as a major underdog for this fight right now. Early underdog is like, I don't know if it's like, it ranges from like 26-1 to like 32-1 right now. It's probably at 30-something to 1. It'll go down to 26-1 probably within a month. But yeah, they have Pacquiao as a major underdog. They're not necessarily buying its performance against Chris Algieri last year. And even that second fight with Timothy Bradley hasn't really gotten to the fight fans as far as him actually having a shot at Mayweather. So it's like everything is basically on Floyd.
You know, I watched the Bradley fight, and I was kind of disgusted with that fight. You know, I don't feel like Timothy Bradley. He said he hurt his foot in the second round, but you want another 10 rounds after that. And the way that he was jumping around, trying to do some Roy Jones Jr. shit, and he's not fast enough to do it, like, what?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Really? Yeah, he kind of like really took it back a bit, you know. So it kind of was weird because if you really think about it, like Bradley really has the skills to beat Pacquiao. Of course, he doesn't have the power, but he does have the skills to beat Pacquiao. But for him not to really engage, even like he did in the first fight, he didn't really engage like he did in the first fight. And for him to like say he had something with a foot injury or something like that, I don't know, because I think he had some type of injury when he fought Ruslan Provodnikov years ago, and he was still able to pull out that fight. So
these are the kind of things that lend to the conspiracy theories of boxing. Fights like that. And people kind of were saying that what was it, the Amir Khan fight too, the one that he won. But yeah, it was Cotto, the Cotto fight, the last Cotto fight, one before Canelo. It was kind of, you know, he's playing with a guy that's, you know, on one leg and the knee surgery isn't fully healed, so.
Oh, you mean Cotto Martinez?
Yeah, Cotto Martinez.
Yeah, but I mean the thing
that was 2 fights ago, right?
It was that like the thing was nobody really said anything about Sergio Martinez's injury leading up to the fight. That was like kept under wraps for some reason.
Yeah, because they wanted to sell the fight.
Yeah, they wanted to sell the fight. Yeah, number one. But I'm like, you would think, you know, leading up to the fight when, you know, they're doing training. Training is kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say open to the public, but people could go in and then see the guy train. So it's like, okay, you know, he's looking good. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's looking good. But you didn't hear anything about Sergio Martinez leading up to the fight.
So you heard the commentators, like, by, like, the third round saying, like, it doesn't look like that knee's holding up too well. It's like, what? Oh, I guess you did have some knee issues there. But it's not holding up too well. It's kind of out of left field.
Mhm. Yeah. But that whole PR thing for that was like really weird, because you would have thought, because something like that you wouldn't really necessarily clear a guy from fighting if it was like that. If you think about it, you wouldn't clear him from fighting on that date. They would postpone it for injury. I mean, look at Canelo Alvarez. He kind of like backed out of a fight due to injuries sometimes. So, I mean, why not? So that's weird. Oh, speaking of Canelo, they pretty much just announced that he will be fighting May 9th, the week after this fight. He'll be fighting James Kirkland. So that's going to be the
wow.
yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, he's finally fighting James Kirkland when I pretty much like hinted that he would fight Kirkland. What was that, back in 2014, the beginning of 2014? That he was.
That was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, almost.
Really, it was almost.
Yeah, literally, it was like almost 2 years ago when I kind of like hinted at it. But
That is actually because it says I could tell you that exact article. I could pull it up here.
yeah, that was.
I updated some of the stuff on that article. A few. Canelo returns March 8th, but against who? Yeah, in that very article, that was on December 18th, 2013.
Yep.
See, that's some foresight right there. That's some foresight right there. So you can check out that article, which is obviously about 2 years ago. Very relevant information now. You can go over to the CHT on Sports. Just in the top corner, search Canelo. Just type in Canelo. It'll be the first one that comes up. Also, when you're over there, by the way, we are running a special with Expedia. If you go over there and type in the word travel and the number 1, we have some special offers over there where you can save 30-40% on flights, hotels, car rentals, and other travel arrangements through our partnership that we have through our affiliate partnership we have over there with Expedia. So go over there, type in travel and the number 1, and you can save today with our specials over there on the website. So we're going to be running some more of that stuff coming up here. I know people that are going to the fight. I know specifically there's a great special over there for Las Vegas. If you're setting up your travel arrangements, and I'll post that up here on the invite page. But the Las Vegas one is Las Vegas hotels for $46 airfare, 2 nights from $159. So you can check that out over there. I'll post it up here on the invite for the show tonight.